We have a question about the Ten Commandments. We've noticed that in the Catholic tradition, the statements of no other gods before God and no graven images are combined. And the statement about not coveting your neighbor's wife and not coveting your neighbor's property are separated. In the Protestant tradition, these are reversed. No other gods and no other graven images are separate. No coveting ones are combined. How did this come about? Thanks in advance, Tanya and Michael.
Yeah, thank you. So the traditional ordering of the commandments in the Latin Christian Church is the way Catholics do it. And there are some Protestant denominations that continue to number the commandments in that way. Many Lutherans continue to number them in the traditional way.
Okay.
The way, and I should point out also that the Bible doesn't number them. It doesn't say, like the count from Sesame Street, number one, number two. We don't get that in sacred scripture.
All
We
right.
just have a list of prohibitions. So the numberings are somewhat arbitrary. But there's a logic to it. And the first person in the West to recommend a new numbering was John Calvin. Well, actually, Ulrich Zwingli, probably, and then Calvin after him, from the Protestant Reformed tradition. And what motivated the change was that Zwingli was a strong opponent of images in Christian worship, any kind of artwork or visual representation. In fact, it was a hallmark of Reformed Christianity to whitewash all the churches, get rid of the paintings, get rid of the sculptures and the statues, every kind of artistic representation taken out of the churches. And so they looked to the first commandment that they turned into the second commandment to justify that. And they said the prohibition on graven images is an absolute prohibition on all kinds of artwork. And in their point of view, the Catholics were trying to diminish the significance of that commandment by hiding it, if you will, within the first commandment. But to do that, since they needed 10 commandments, necessitated collapsing 9 and 10 into one commandment. So what does the Catholic Church say about this? First of all, we believe the entirety of the 10 commandments, however you number them. And so Catholics continue to believe that it is immoral to make graven images, to bow down and worship them. That's what the text says. What we dispute is we do not think that making religious artwork constitutes bowing down to graven images. And we think that because sacred scripture positively commands the manufacture of religious art. Just go read the instructions for the building of the temple or the tabernacle in the Old Testament, and you'll find or the Ark of the Covenant for that matter, and you'll find all kinds of representative art commanded to the people of Israel for use in worship. So there's no absolute prohibition on that. So we just think Zwingli was wrong about it. The other thing is if you look at the way the Reformed Church numbers the commandments by collapsing 9 and 10 into one single commandment, they now equate coveting your neighbor's wife with coveting his lawnmower. And the way the Catholic Church looks at it is a distinct commandment, and there's a distinct sin. There's something very different about coveting your neighbor's wife from coveting your neighbor's lawnmower.